Hello guys! Today I'm with a friend once again, Vlad. Do you recognize him?
Hi, how are you doing?
So today we're going to talk about TOEFL examination. A very strange environment for such a topic, don't you think? Well, that's because in Russia you pass this exam in the forest.
Oh, this is joke.
Of course, we do not do it. Anyway, so first of all, I'm going to tell about this exam in general, and then Vlad will share his experience, his opinion. Anyway, let's start. So TOEFL is a test of English as a foreign language. So it has 4 basic categories: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. There are 2 types of such a test: internet-based test and paper-based test. So they are a little bit different. Of course, if we talk about the internet-based test, which Vlad, by the way, passed, it's a very strange one. Well, okay, first of all, I will quickly tell about the duration and so on. So reading consists of 3 to 5 passages, each contain 12 to 14 questions, and the duration is 60 to 100 minutes. Now listening, 6 to 9 passages, each contain 5 to 6 questions, and here the duration is about 60 to 90 minutes. Then there is a mandatory break, so you have to wait for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
just
but
relax.
you need this break because you are getting very nervous. You start to feel hungry, or just to have a cup of tea. I think it's necessary.
Of
anyway.
course, so that's why it's mandatory. Then speaking, 6 tasks for 20 minutes, and writing 2 tasks for 50 minutes. Okay, now Vlad, tell me, how was it? So what's your experience?
Well, first of all, my purpose to pass this examination was because I was going to enter to the university, a foreign university in Europe, and one of the requirements was to have a certificate of English language that you are quite capable to speak it. And I had to acquire about 95 points, and my result was 102, so I passed it. But this examination is quite strange because it's internet-based examination, and you do not speak with any real person. All the process is with the computer. So all the speaking part you speak with the computer, and if, for example, the equipment doesn't work, you never know whether it works or not. You will know it when they will send you the notes.
Zero for speaking.
Yeah, because sometimes everything can happen, because this is just equipment. This is electronics, and sometimes it fails, and you never know. Well, and psychologically it's very difficult, because when you speak with a real person, you can react on the mimics, on the face expressions.
There's feedback.
There is a feedback, and if you are doing well, you can feel it. If you are not doing well, you can improve. But in this case, you just speak to the screen, to the microphone, and
it feels stupid.
It feels stupid. It really feels stupid. And the other thing that for me was difficult is that the reading part, they put a lot of vocabulary, very strange words that you have never seen in your life. And to analyze this text, it's quite complicated, because you are very short of time, and just sometimes you have to do it like whatever.
Yeah, I think that if a native speaker would have to pass this exam, he would not have the highest score, because you can't.
Definitely.
Yeah, you can't know all these words. This ornate language, it's just impossible. The texts are ridiculous sometimes.
Well, and moreover, there are a lot of tricky questions. When the reading part, there are questions that you have to answer, and sometimes there are like questions that are very similar to each other, and the difference
you mean
is
variants.
It's like the difference is in the logic, because it's not a question of language capabilities; it's a question of logic, because some people are not just strong in their logic, but they can speak English perfectly. So this is just not quite a standard examination in this case.
I understand. Well, actually, it happens in quite many tests and in listening to, when the variants are very close and people are talking about some topic, and then there's one tiny, they mention something for a very brief period of time, and this is what you are looking
Exactly.
for. So the whole
Definitely.
conversation was nothing. It was just in vain. You didn't have to listen to a complete conversation. So sometimes it's very tricky.
Yeah, and the other disadvantage of TOEFL is that it's only valid for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think that they made it in purpose, because all the other official examinations on other foreign languages such as Spanish, German, Russian, they are valid through all your life. You don't have to pass it like every 2 years. But with TOEFL, you have to pay every 2 years, and this examination is not cheap. I mean, when I passed it, it was 2012. And it cost me 8,000 rubles. I don't know how much does it cost now, and I don't know. I don't want to know it. So the point is that they just converted all the English language studying and examination into industry,
in
business, and this is not a good point.
Well, a lot of people earn good money.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's why it's
well. But
great
anyway,
business.
it's possible to pass TOEFL if you prepare. And you have to prepare, you have to use a lot of programs, because this examination is tricky. It's tricky because of its format. So if it's internet-based TOEFL, you have to speak with the computer. So start training with the computer. Otherwise, you will feel very awkward in the examination, and it can result in the negative notes.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, because if you do not have this practice, if you do not practice with this particular test, these assignments and tasks, then you won't be perfect. You can speak English wonderfully, you can be a profound speaker, but the problem is that some particular tasks can be tricky, and you need to train these tasks exactly. So you need to do the test for many times to, well, get used to it or something like this. So you need to practice, and then you'll be able to pass it really well.
And one more thing, that in the vocabulary part, they check academic English. I mean, all the tasks, they will be connected with academic English, especially listening. So if you are really into passing this examination, you have to train also your academic vocabulary. So buy some books on academic English, study some, typical phrases from, from academic journals, from scientific publications, and so on. This will help a lot.
Yeah, and by the way, I have trained quite many students of mine to pass this exact exam, and we used a lot of materials, books included, and some, sample tests, if I may put it like this. So it is a very long and difficult route, but you can train yourself. It's possible. Why not? There are tons of materials nowadays. It's easy to find them and to practice yourself.
Yeah, it's really possible to have good notes with TOEFL, good points. And one more thing is that when you prepare for TOEFL, you have to have a system. I mean, you just need to prepare every day, during 1 or 2 months, just to have a system, not to let it go like this. You have to be organized.
You can be very creative here. You have to be persistent.
Yes, and it also depends on what purpose it serves for. For example, if you are going to enter to the university and your major is in humanities, they will ask for higher points. I mean, it starts from 110, and if it's like engineering or something else, they can be a little bit lower. So with 95, 90, you can already do it.
Okay, yeah, I see.
The TOEFL paper-based test, also known as TOEFL PBT, is available in limited areas, and that's the problem. Although its scores are valid for 2 years after the test date too. As for the structure, take a look at it. It's a little bit different.
Okay, good. I guess that enough for one class, we told you a little bit about this exam, TOEFL. We are going to continue talking about this exam, about some particular tasks and so on. But that's it for today. We hope that you liked this video. If you did, please press the button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and see you in my next class. So say goodbye to Vlad.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. So.